Today, we are starting our very first playoff series going against the Detroit Pistons, and I have our updated playoff minutes here. As you can see, much like we did in the regular season, we are always going to have starters on the floor. Of course, a lot of these guys are getting their minutes pushed up. Pope is up to 36, Mullins up to 36, Andre Stevens up to 36, Moody up to 32, Christian Davidson up to 28. Yes, Moody will still be starting in the playoffs and he will still be getting more minutes, but as you can see here, Christian Davidson is in the closing lineup for the last 8 minutes of the ball game. And then the guys after Davidson, their roles are getting reduced a little bit. All these guys will be getting 12 minutes a game. That Patrick Baldwin injury really messed with my plans. I plan to use a 9-man rotation, much like we have here in the playoffs, but I was hoping to take Sam Hudson out of the rotation and have Davidson play both backup guard spots rather than both backup wing spots. But the Baldwin injury once again just kind of messed with that plan. So this is what we're rocking with here, at least to start off the playoffs. Of course, if something's not working, we will absolutely change it. I was a little bit more lenient with some lineups. Wanted to give them more time in the regular season, not so much in the playoffs. If something's not working, we are changing it as soon as we can. But the lineups are not the only thing we're going to be taking a look at. We also want to take a look at our game plan against the Detroit Pistons. In terms of that starting game plan, we're going to have Moses Moody / Christian Davidson guarding Kawhi Leonard. That's one that's might be a bit of a weak spot, but Kawhi in his old age is starting to regress a little bit offensively, at least. We're going to have Sidney Lowry trying to guard up Cade Cunningham. Francis Mullins will guard Giannis. Malachi Pope will be on Ivy, and that means Andre Stevens will be guarding Jalen Duren. Haven't done a lot of these individual settings yet. I think we'll see how the Pistons are playing us, and then we'll adjust accordingly. The one that I did is we are trying to force Giannis to be a little bit of a shooter. He kind of wrecked us in that regular season game that we watched, that the Pistons beat us handily. We can try to force him into being a shooter here early on in this series. I think that will be to our benefit. I just think Francis Mullins is the best interior defender that we have, and so if anybody's going to stop Giannis on this team, I don't know if there will be. It's going to be Francis Mullins. So that is the game plan for game 1 against the Pistons. Without any further ado, let's get into game 1 of round 1 against Detroit. So here we are. Let's officially get the playoffs underway. We may be the 4th seed here in this matchup, but I don't think we'd be the betting favorites here. Drew a tough matchup here with the Pistons as we start the playoffs with a turnover that I think the Pistons were just a little bit bitten by the injury bug. But regardless, it's who we pulled, and we got to do our best to beat them. Hopefully the tactics we've started out here with can help us, as Lowry knots this game up at 2 apiece. Pick and roll here for Duren, and that was just a bit too easy for Detroit down the lane there. Lowry again, stepping back, finds some space there above the free throw line. He's hit our first 4. Okay, that's a shot with a man right on his hip in Lowry, but he couldn't get his hand up to properly contest that one. Now Lowry finds a wide open Malachi Pope, but his first playoff attempt is too strong. Seen a lot of Lowry here early, and that's exactly what I want to see. The playoffs, you want to see your stars get even more involved here. Because if we're being honest, Sidney Lowry's the only player that's truly at the level of these top-end Detroit guys as Malachi Pope gets on the board. Mullins and Pope, they'll get there. Maybe Davidson too. We'll see what happens with his potential. But Lowry's the only guy that's there now, and we're going to need big stuff from him. as Moody drains the wide open three, giving us our first lead. Kawhi sits Moody on the floor with that second screen. A very hard pick from Jalen Duren. Moody gets Detroit right back, though, for putting him on the floor with the mid-range jumper. He's 2 for 2. Cade hitting some tough shots. I mean, we've got the best guy on our team on him in Sidney Lowry. I don't know what we can do when he's just hitting tough shots like that. Here he is again. This one not nearly as tough, and he is looking like he might have a good game here early. Mullins in the post. Goes for Pope. Offline on the jumper. Dish inside to Cade, and he draws the Andre Stevens foul. First free throw is good for Cade, and he's been the guy we can't stop. It looks like Mullins on Giannis has slowed down Giannis early on in this game, but the problem is Cade's just filled right in his spot and taking all the shots here as Mullins will earn himself a pair of free throws. Scared me for a second that he was reaching for his leg, but he just needed to tie his shoe. First free throw is in, second is as well. Gaines gives to Ivy to a Giannis corner three. And there we go. That's what we want. If Giannis can spend this game taking jumpers, I think we'll take that here. Pope takes a dribble, then takes the three. I wish he would have just shot it off the catch. He was a little bit more open there, not quite as deep either. Has a little ghost screen there from Duren. Gets him an easy deuce. Andre Stevens whips it inside. Moses Moody point blank shot is no good. It looks like he got scared of the block there or something. Spinning Cade hits again. I mean, Lowry's right next to him on a lot of these shots. You just got to applaud the shot making of Cade here in this first quarter. Mullins gets the feed inside from Lowry. The big man of the dynamic duo from Duke, or the Dynamite Dukies, as was mentioned in the last comment section. Solid alternate nickname for sure. Lowry able to use leverage to get the clean look there. Hand off to Cunningham. Duren's going to the basket, and that was not contested at all. Starting to see maybe some early adjustments we could make. Just want to give it a little bit more time here, but I think there are some things that we could definitely fix as Cade scores again. And yep, we're going to make our first adjustments here to our original game plan. Think initially it's hard to say what's going to work against Cade because for the most part his stuff has been decently contested. That last one was not, for sure. On ball screens. What do we do with Cade? I think we'll keep it automatic for now. On ball screens, there's only been one shot where I think that was really a problem so far. I do want off ball screens. Switch. That last three was way too wide open. We cannot. If they're going to do off ball screens to get him 3-point looks, we gotta switch on those because he's likely to fire off the catch. So if we can just get a solid contest there, want to go under on those off ball screens for Duren. We're not worried about him shooting at all. Back to the game here, an easy pick and roll for Clark Gaines. Don't really know if we need to be game planning for the backups quite yet, but that was way too easy of a look as Stevens gives us another chance here. Lowry hits the mid-range jumper, makes the most of that second chance. Oladipo taking a contested three top of the key with Davidson on the defense. Hudson coming around. He's going to take the shot, and with 5 seconds left in the first, he drains that three. So unless Giannis hits some crazy jumper here, with chill air ball, we're going to be down 4 points here at the end of one. Overall, I think not a terrible quarter for us by any means. Just got to contain Cade a little bit better than we did in the first, and I think we're still right in this game. We're doubling Giannis in the post despite him not being much of a problem so far in this game. Leads to an Isaiah Joe 3. That's a nice alley-oop between the Dynamite Dookies, and nice little acrobatic flush from Mullins on the finish. Davidson, he's quick to fire. That one is in. Isaiah Joe, a little too small there to get the contest on him. Another post double leads to an open 3 for Detroit. Not loving these doubles. Doubling is just terrible in 2K, and Mullins gets stripped. Had a wide open man in the corner. On the other end, Giannis now defended by Ernest Augustine because we couldn't get our matchups right in transition. Ernest Augustine now answers right back though with the long ball. And okay, I'm asking you to give him space off ball, but that just totally gets negated if you fall for the pump fake. Don't fall for the pump fake. We want Giannis to be a shooter. Mullins. That shot is exactly what we want to take. Don't play up on the pump fake. Moody there, a nice contested jumper. Gaines on the other end. Plays through the contact. Gets the N1 and makes the free throw on top of it. Detroit leads by 7 here. Going up top for Davidson. And just a beautifully placed lob there from Pope, his second in this game, where he's just placed it right on the money. Giannis dishes inside to Kawhi. Oh, pulls from the elbow and hits the shot. It's just a lapse in defense there from Christian Davidson. Allowed Ty Washington a free path to the basket. Shot clock winding down for Davidson. Forced to put a tough 3 up from on top of the arc. Tough look there. One of the few times we haven't got a look that's at least pretty decent. And nice job by Mullins there, forcing Giannis to a nice tough shot. I think his defense on Giannis has been one of the bigger positives here through the first quarter and a half here. But man, Detroit just kind of slowly picking away at us, slowly building the lead. I don't like it. Giannis, deep 3. There we go. That's what we want. That's the design of our defensive strategy. Mullins, though, taking that on the other end is not on the design of our defensive strategy. How is Gaines that wide open? Nobody's covering the guy under the basket? How? Oh. Nice finish on the U. That little down screen to the basket for the alley-oop has been one of our most dependable plays, and Kawhi is down on the court with an injury. Seems to be in quite a lot of pain. Gets helped up there by Ivy. He can walk it off. It looks like something in the chest area for Kawhi. Pope left alone on top of the key, and he makes the jumper. Giannis finds an open man in the corner. Ty Washington makes this a double-digit lead once again. Mullins shields off Gaines and gets the easy 2. Davidson to Mullins to Augustine. Nice passing of the pumpkin there is going to get Augustine a pair of free throws. First is good. Getting 2 from 2 from him is always a blessing when you can get it, but couldn't get it there. Nice job playing the passing lane there from Lowry. On the other end, he draws the foul. Couldn't quite accelerate enough to get the clear path, but 2 points is 2 points, and he does go 2 for 2. We're back down to 6. Giannis, no good again. The game plan's working. He takes those. If you don't guard him, he will take those. That's exactly what he's doing. Andre Stevens makes this back to a 1-basket game. We are right back in it. Pistons not looking quite the same without Kawhi here in the second quarter. Giannis another three, but he hit that with a hand in his face. Giannis hit a three. What do you want me to do? Sometimes great players make great plays, and that's just the way it goes. Giannis turns around. Missed that one. Moody, that's a tough looking three. And he drains it. It's back to three. Moody has been excellent shooting the ball for us. He had that 1 point blank miss that was pretty bad. But other than that, it's been straight up money for us. That miss by Kate is going to keep this a 3-point game here. We'd win the second quarter by a point. And this game's looking pretty dang competitive. Taking a look at the halftime update, Moses Moody and Lowry tie us for the lead in points at 10, Pope at 9, Mullins at 8. Pretty well rounded here from the guys. Nobody's shooting below 40%. That 4 of 9 is our worst. Cade just could not be stopped. 16-6 at halftime. Ty Washington, just the point guards in general. Giannis was a good passer, but we did an excellent job. He took 5 3-pointers in the first half, was only 4 of 13 from the field. So our game plan to stop Giannis is good. Just need to find a way to stop Cade now, I think, is the main priority. And we can continue to do defensive adjustments, but I mean, we got our best guy on him. I don't really know what we're going to do there. We're -4 on the turnover battle, which is not great. Rebounding-wise, we're doing a little bit better. They're a really good assist team. They're racking up the assists. All in all, a very close game. But if we can force some turnovers and not turn the ball over ourselves, like we're trying to do here to start the second half, we got a shot to win. And Giannis this time nails the 3, making him 2 of 6 on the game. Nice find by Mullins. There are a lot of blue jerseys around the area, but Mullins ends up with the basket. Cade. Tough jumper there. Sidney Lowry right in his face, but Jalen Duren on the rebound. Going for the shot. Missed it again, but he taps it to Giannis. They get a third possession. Cade wide open this time. Hard to guard 3 straight possessions, man. And now we're doubling Cade. We're already sending them double. We got Sidney Lowry on him. Trust your best defender, man. Lowry. Double pumps. Finds Andre Stevens. A nice feed from our superstar. Down to a 5-point game. Giannis. Spinning, pumping, and Jalen Duren just finishes right over the top of our interior defense. Andre Stevens swings to Moody, to Mullins. A great look for the center. Couldn't hit it. Giannis backing down in the post, finds a wide open Clark Gaines. And who is this guy, man? He's been really good for Detroit. Spent all this time worrying about their great starting lineup. But this Clark Gaines guy is out here making things difficult for us. Giannis missed the jumper. Andre Stevens on the board, and now we got Malachi calling for the high pick and roll. Goes inside and hits the floater. Nice job getting to his spot. 13 points now for Pope to lead the Sound. Mullins turns and shoots over the top of Duren, getting him to double figures. And off to Cade, and he just kind of blew by the defense there. Detroit up 8. Malachi, a little bit of an errant pass. We eventually get it to Christian Davidson. Solid look, top of the arc. Put a little bit too much on it. We have Pope on Giannis down low. That's not a great look for us. Help comes, and it's a 3-pointer. I don't mind that double, that's for sure. Some of these doubles are bad. That one is plenty good for me, even though we did surrender the 3. Lowry gets himself to the line once more. Wish he'd do that a little bit more. He tends to try to, pull up from that short mid-range. Missed the second, but Mullins on the steal. Nice effort from him to get the extra basket. Detroit lead remains at 8 here. As just beautiful ball movement by Detroit gets a wide open three from the corner. Ty Washington and Clark Gaines off the bench are giving us more trouble than I wanted to hear from the Detroit bench all day. How do they have these excellent starters and still have this impactful bench, man? Drafting well with Clark Gaines, of course. And Ty Washington should not be giving us this much trouble, man. Having that three erased on the illegal screen earlier was pretty rough for Lowry there. Now Giannis is just going to take Pope down in the post. How do we keep getting that matchup, man? Having Pope on Giannis in the post is not where we want to be. All this help defense and doubling is putting us in terrible situations. Doubling Cade once again. Giannis forced to put up a terrible shot, but he made it. That's the second wild Giannis shot. You just got to tip your cap there. It's a defense. Can't do much. Better to defend that as Francis Mullins gets blocked by Durant. That one blocked right on the other end. Mullins returns the favor. Isaiah Joe just left wide open. What was Moody doing? Did he take a hard screen? You'd have to think he did, because he was nowhere near Isaiah Joe there. Mullins isolating against Durant. Easy shot for him. But Detroit has built a 15-point lead. Scoring is slowed down, and then this doubling is giving Detroit easy shots every possession. Durant. Nice defense there by Christian Davidson. Gonna force the shot clock violation. Beautifully done. Got the mismatch, still made things tough. Then on the other end, he gets rewarded with the layup. Third quarter about to come to a close. Giannis is gonna draw the foul and get the layup on top of it. Mullins, I think, has done an excellent job for the most part on Giannis all night, but the Greek Freak gonna get the better of him in that scenario, and that's gonna end the third. Not a good third for us. We lost it by 12 points. Lowry only scored 1 point. That one free throw was the only point he scored in the third. He's entering the fourth quarter with 11 points. Is that the lowest we've seen from him? And he hasn't even had Kawhi guarding him for most of this game. We need our star to be a little bit more selfish, I guess. We need him to be taking more shots. 11 points for Lowry to start the fourth is not enough. One of the probably bigger reasons for the run, because, I mean, he had 10 at halftime, which is still kind of low for him, but not that low. But just 1 in the third. And we so happened to lose that quarter by 12. I don't think that's a coincidence. Like I said, Lowry's really the only player at the level of these top-end Pistons players on our team right now. Just because of our youth and our second and third best players both being rookies. You kind of need Sidney Lowry to be, you know, the MVP candidate we saw earlier on in the season if we're going to compete with these Detroit Pistons here in this series. We'll see how serious Kawhi's injury is, if he'll miss the entirety of the series or if he'll be back. But Jaden Ivey, they're going to miss the jumper. 10-point game. Lowry definitely starting to heat up here in the fourth, and that's a beautiful finish. Forcing a Detroit timeout. We're back within single digits. Here we go. Got to clamp down on defense now. Giannis misses the three, but we got to get the rebound there, Mullins. That's exactly the possession we're looking for. You got to finish them, though. Andre Stevens, wide open top of the key with the assist by Pope. 7-point ball game. Stops got to start coming here soon, but we're getting Cade there. A nice open look from three. And he's not going to miss those with how he's playing today. And there he hits another. And just like that, it's back up to 13 with 2 consecutive Cade threes. Now Lowry with a wide open shot. Answers it back. He's gotten 11 points here in the fourth, which is what he had through 3. Here he gets the steal. And hits the transition jumper. Lowry trying to keep us in this game now. Double for Cade. Leads to an open basket at the rim. Man, oh man. You thought I was annoyed at the doubling in the regular season. Just wait to see how annoyed I'm going to get at some point in this series when it costs us the game in the playoffs. It's really costing us our chance here, but I mean, that one was it took a little bit longer for the double to hurt us, but in the end it still did. You know, Ivy's not going to be that wide open in the corner if we don't double during that possession. It's just so incredibly hard to get stops while you double in this game. Cade takes an awful shot early in the shot clock. That helps us a ton. Got to capitalize with a bucket here. It's exactly what we're going to get. Mullins on the receiving end of a nice pass from Andre the Giant. Ivy pulls up from the mid-range. Again, a miss. There we go. There's the stop. Lowry kicks it to Pope. He's taking a three and he hit it. Let's go. It's down to 6. Just under 3 remaining. Need a stop here, but we send the double and it leads to Jalen Duren being wide open under the basket, dude. Oh my gosh. That stop would have been huge, and then Lowry with the step back missed it. And then the emphatic finish from Giannis on the other end is back to double digits. Thought we had a chance there, but that likely seals it. We need to score every possession from here on out. We're going to score there. And now we need to get a stop every possession as well. Cade. Just too easy of a look. 90 seconds left. A 10-point ball game. This one's looking like a game 1 loss, and then Sidney Lowry just dribbles it into the knee of Giannis Antetokounmpo. And another double there on Cade just to hurt my feelings. There we actually got the turnover. The double worked. It's 1 for 20 in this game, but it worked. And then Giannis is going to hit the dagger 3. And that's pretty much going to end this ball game here for us. We're going to lose game 1 at home. Lose home court advantage for the series. Did not take long. Thought there was a couple moments where we had a chance. I think we surged late in the second quarter once Kawhi got injured. But I think Lowry was a little bit passive there in the third. And he definitely turned it up in the fourth. Ended up still being our best player today, I think, overall. 24 points on 22 shots, though. Mullins was 27 and 3. Pope had 16 and 6. Shot pretty well. Moses Moody, I honestly thought was one of our best players today. He was hitting his wide open shots. He was hitting his contested shots. And then Cade was just too much of a problem. I think Giannis, obviously 12 assists is a bunch, but we limited his shooting. Just could not stop Cade. I want to make a couple of adjustments ahead of game 2 for sure. But we did a good job on Ivy. That was Malachi Pope's assignment. So Pope on Ivy, I think, can continue. I think you still got to keep Sidney Lowry on Cade. I mean, he's the best defender. What's going to be the better matchup against Cade than Sidney Lowry? The one thing I wanted to change here is Lowry's got to get 40 minutes a game. We can't have a passive third. He didn't play the last 4 minutes of that third, so just got to be aware of that. But he's coming in here. He's playing 40 minutes a game. That's the main thing I want to do between game 1 and game 2 is get Lowry the ball more. And so that's going to be our new playoff rotation. As of right now, it's going to take some minutes, away from, I believe that was Ernest Augustine who's going to get some minutes. I can't remember, but Just got to get more from Lowry in the first 3 quarters. I think he was excellent in the fourth, and got to do better there. So the other thing I wanted to do is go from looking for shots to playing through the star. Hopefully this will just get more possessions for Sidney Lowry. Play through him even more. So here's game 2. For this one, we're going to be showing only the makes, trying to keep this episode under an hour. So I think for these 2 games an episode in the playoffs, one will be kind of trying to show full clips, show the full story of the game. The other one will be only the makes, unless they're close games within 5 minutes. Then we'll probably slow it down after that and show kind of the entire story of the final 5 minutes in those close matchups. But let's hop into this one. Giannis getting Detroit scoring started there with a 3. Mullins. Lefty turnaround hook is good. That is a difficult shot for the rookie, and he drained it. Cade from beyond the arc. Open once again. Malachi Pope. If there are some things that you want to see in the defensive adjustments between game 2 and 3, let me know. I will try to hold off on recording the next episode until this one has dropped and had some time for people to give me some of their suggestions for sure. I might be the head coach here, but you know, a good head coach listens to his assistant head coaches for sure. That doesn't mean I'm going to implement every suggestion, but especially if you have an idea on, Cade Cunningham, I'm all ears to that. But a great start for us here in this game as Jaden Ivey pulls up from the mid-range. Almost shot that by Mullins. Ends up getting the ball back anyway and goes off glass for 2. And we've reached 20 points. We're not even halfway through the first. This offense has come out firing here in the first quarter. This team does not want to go down 0-2, especially with Kawhi out. I'll show it after this game. It's not a major injury for Kawhi. It's kind of up in the air whether he'll be back this series. I think he probably won't be back unless there's a game 7. It's a 1 to 2 week injury. Mullins there ends up getting a flagrant foul called on him from that Duren foul. Don't know if I saw flagrant there. Probably maybe, that foul on the arm ended up first contacting his head would be, I think, the reason they would call a flagrant there. But a 10-point lead here as we see a good look for Jaden Ivey in the corner. Did a good job making his contributions quiet in game 1, but he's doing better here to start game 2. Moody got fouled on that jump shot. He gets 2 free throws. He's pretty good at those. He'll drain both of them. Up 9 now. In transition, Sam Hudson with a little floater. Puts us up by double digits. Got the ball now. Here he's got a wide open Moses Moody, who's been very steady Eddie for us here to start the playoffs. Ivy from the mid-range. Too much space given to him there. Yeah, it looks like game 2 is going to be a better Jaden Ivey game than what we saw in game 1. But our offense is cooking with some gas here in the first quarter. Just absolutely nailing these long balls all throughout the quarter. Minute left, already up at 37. And Detroit just has not been able to keep up with us here in the first. I think not having Kawhi has unlocked Lowry for sure as he gets himself an and one. And if he nails his free throw, which he's going to do, we've got ourselves a 40-point quarter here to start game 2. Making a statement, and then Christian Davidson's called for that foul. I don't know about that one. That looked like good defense to me. But Jaden Ivey missed. Ball don't lie. We know how it goes. It's the second one, though. Up by 16. Christian Davidson going to take the last shot of the quarter, and that's going to do it. 40-24. And, we're only showing the makes here, so you're not going to see it, but I do think the defense was much better in this game. I think Lowry on Cade was better. That being said, I don't think That means we shouldn't, you know, be willing to make adjustments between game 2 and game 3. But I think, as you can see, by only allowing 24 points in the quarter, I think the defense stepped up a bit here to start this game. Giannis to Isaiah Joe. You can't foul a 3-point shooter, especially Sidney Lowry. He's got to know better than that. Joe hit 1, hit 2, and hit all 3. Lowry wide open in the corner. Can't give him a look that clean. And we're up by 15. Davidson, catch and shoot. Now we're the ones getting fouled beyond the 3-point arc. And again, it's the superstar doing the foul. I mean, you'd think these star players would know better. But unfortunately, Christian Davidson kind of sucks at free throws, so he only makes 1 of his 3. Augustine left wide open there. Unfortunately, was a foot inside the line. So it'll only be worth 2. Outside Washington, big problem for us in game 1. It's that jumper. Augustine just chilling there in the paint. You got to do something, my guy. Shot clock winding down. Not a good possession, but somehow we end up with 2. Sometimes it's just one of those nights. Things are going your way. Oh. Transition 3 in the corner. Drops in, and we are now up 20 points in the first half. Just been an absolute dominant performance on both ends of the court so far through the first 19 minutes of this ball game. Hope gonna drain another triple. Cade inside to Clark Gaines. Shooting foul, unfortunately. That's not Clark Gaines, that's Nerlens Noel, who goes 1 for 2. Cade Cunningham has Moses Moody on him and is just a little bit too big and strong for him. Lowry trying to go up against Isaiah Joe. That is definitely a favorable matchup for us, and we need to try to attack it as much as we can. Isaiah Joe is not nearly a big enough defender to adequately guard Sidney Lowry. Here he has Clark Gaines on him, who's much better at that, but doesn't matter there. So far, the adjustment to start playing through Lowry more, working out for us. He has been excellent in the first, really taking this team and put us on his back, and we're seeing the results. It's been excellent. Cunningham off the screen. Pure from beyond the arc. Lowry already getting the doubles here in the first half. He dishes to Sam Hudson. And the threes keep falling. Lowry, as the second half comes to a close, can't hit that one. Would have given us a 70-point half. So 40 points in the first, only 27 in the second, but 27's not bad by any means. So a 23-point lead, 22 by Sidney Lowry, already doubling up what he put up through 3 quarters last time around. Moody and Mullins, the other guy, in double figures. Moody's just showing up for us here in these playoffs. You got to love it. He's the only guy on the team with playoff experience, so I guess that makes sense. Cade Cunningham, once again, been a bit of a problem. Overall, we were better defensively, not allowing neither of these guys to really be as good in terms of their assists, but this time it's been Jaden Ivey. Been a little bit of the problem for us, which he wasn't last game. A leading 3 from Lowry. But he's been on fire all night, so not surprised that one went in. Here, Cade hits the top bucket around Lowry. Mullins left all to his lonesome here beyond the arc. Now they're leaving Sidney Lowry. I mean, leaving Mullins, questionable decision. Leaving Lowry alone in the corner, that's straight up just nonsensical. Detroit going to get the pick and roll basket there with Giannis. Giannis, when he's willing to be a pick and roll roller, is pretty much unstoppable. I'll just say that. as Mullins hit that free throw line extended jumper. Nurin with it, finds a man inside. That's Jaden Ivey. Passes a bit behind him, almost felt like should have been stolen there by Pope, but Detroit gets away with one there, and here they're going to get the three-point play. Clark Gaines, man. Solid player. Davidson kicks to Andre Stevens. Nice ball movement there. Getting the ball out on the double and finding the open man. Now the double coming Cade's way for the second straight game. Yeah, if there's one thing that I feel like I need, I didn't change, you know, the game plan, excuse me, during this game because, you know, we're up by 20 points. But I think if we want to win this series, which obviously I do, I'm never going to intentionally lose a series. Probably going to need to find a way to stop Cade because we're not going to shoot, you know, as insanely good as we have today every game. And we're going to get games more like game one where if Cade's playing that well, it's likely going to be the difference between a win and a loss. So the one thing we haven't been able to stop yet is how he just dribbles right into the chest of the defender again, and Jaden Ivey with a statement jam on the other end. Going for Pope. It was tipped away, but he got it back. And goes off glass for the layup. Giannis tossing up. Ernest Augustine. Help defense comes. Jaden Ivey hits the three. Oh, yeah. Might have got a little bit lucky with him not having a good game in game one. Mullins. His jumper's feeling it here in the third quarter. His second three-pointer of the period. Giannis hits the corner three. Ivey pumps. Fires over Mullins and hits that shot. You're kidding me. Yeah, he's just having one of those games. And Giannis just straight up pickpockets the pass there. And I don't think Detroit's offense hasn't necessarily been bad in this game. I mean, 77 points through threes. Not great, but it's not awful. It's just that our offense is close here to 100. Moody missed the wide open jumper. A rare sight here in these first two games, but yeah, we're not going to be able to score at this pace every game. As much as I'd want to. I'd love to. But like Sam Hudson hitting a couple, you know, contested threes. Is that going to happen every game? I don't know. Stuff like that's just been falling for us this game. But regardless, this has been a joy to watch. And yeah, we're just unconscious from deep right now, man. The hometown firing us up. Don't want to go behind 0-2. This is not, you know, technically a must-win game, but it kind of had that feeling for us that, you know, if we fall behind 0-2 both home games, then we might get swept in this series. So needed this one to build our confidence that we could win this series. Now, this is exactly what I'm seeing here now. We can't let Detroit back in here. But with the way we're shooting, I just can't see that happening. We'd have to go ice cold out of nowhere, or just start doubling Cade Cunningham and giving the Detroit Pistons a basket every possession, which that I actually can see happening. But even if they do that, we still have to get some misses, which just has not been the name of the game for us in this one. Gaines once again gets an and one. I think he's gotten 3 or 4 of those in these first two games, which is pretty wild. Nice pump fake by Sam Hudson, but he missed the shot. Gets a second try at it. Eventually gets the 2. It took him maybe a little bit longer than most. That's a blow by Giannis, but he decides to pull up, still hits it. Maybe Giannis getting a little bit older there. I feel like Giannis would have just gone for the poster there. Nice step back jumper from our superstar, Sidney Lowry. All-NBA player. Some are marking that he was a little bit gypped. Should have been at least second team, and I do agree his stats did dip down under 25 points a game by the time the season was over. Kind of had a little bit more of a cold stretch. I don't know necessarily cold. His shooting is still great. Just other guys got involved as the season got along. But obviously he's in that superstar tier, and it really showed up today and made a massive difference between these two games. I gotta say the number one difference between game 1 and game 2, it's Sidney Lowry, and that might be a cause of no Kawhi. But again, they didn't have Kawhi in the second half. In that third quarter, when Sidney Lowry scored 1 point, Kawhi wasn't there either. He stepped up here today, and it's going to result in a Nashville victory. 13 points, so both teams have a double-digit win here in these first 2 games in the playoffs. We pick up our first postseason victory before heading on to the road to face Detroit. The series tied 1 apiece. It'll be interesting. I think the Detroit Pistons would definitely be favored had they still had Kawhi, but they don't. They don't for the next 1 to 2 weeks. And so can we take advantage and turn this into, a series victory? That's certainly our goal. Just have to figure out a way to guard Kat again. In terms of matchup wise, I don't think anybody other than Lowry would be better. We could try Pope. He didn't do a great job on Ivy today. But Kawhi Leonard, as you see here, collapsed along 1 to 2 weeks. So if it's closer to that 1, I think he could be back by game 7. If it's closer to that 2, he'd likely not be back until, round 2, which Detroit is certainly not guaranteed to make at all. So we'll have the opportunity to try to take this series by the horns here. We're going to have to do it on the road, though, and we're going to have to do a better job of defending Cade Cunningham if that's what we want to do. But that's all I've got for this first playoff episode. We've got games 3 and 4 on the road coming soon, and I'll see you then. And until then, sound up.